Hi everyone, it's Amy from Making Space. So for today's activity, I've got a lovely creative activity inspired by papercraft. We're going to be doing some creative collage and you can make some various different outcomes. You can make some lovely pictures or you can make some great personalised cards. It's completely up to you. So it's kind of a two-stage exercise. The first thing you're going to need is we're going to make the actual the coloured paper using different techniques, and then we're going to do the cutting and the sticking and the collage. So I'll run through the materials as always. So you're going to want some plain white paper. I'm just using this pad of paper that I've got. If you want to make cards, some blank cards are great. Then you're going to need some nice colouring pens for kind of doing your mark making. You're going to need a Pritt stick, paper scissors definitely, a pencil is quite handy to have, and then you might need, but you don't definitely need them, some double-sided tape and a craft knife and craft mat. If you that sort of depends on your collage and how complex it is as well. But you don't need these items; they're just, if you've got them, they're sort of a bonus. Okay, so I think that's it. So like I said, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create our paper. Now, obviously, you can collage with just plain coloured paper. But what makes these collages look really nice is the fact the paper that we're using is going to be textured and patterned. Now, previously I did an activity where I showed you how to make these lovely wax resist watercolour papers. So if you made them and you still got them lying around, you can use them. This activity is great for them. You can find it on our website. So that's some examples there. If you've not done that or you don't want to do them, you can of course make some pen ones, and these are just being done using normal felt tip pens. And you can see they're really simple to make, just different marks, patterns, colours. It's completely up to you. As you can see, I've done sort of 3 different ones on a page to kind of get a bit more variety. They're quite nice if they're sort of layered up. So what I'll do is I'll show you how to do some of those quickly first, and then we'll get started with the collage. So just grab a plain scrap bit of paper and a pen, and you want to make sure you've got a variety of different colours, different textures, different patterns to work with. And then you can just start playing about, experimenting, making some unusual marks on your paper. I quite like them when they're built up colours, so you've got maybe a few different colours and layers. These Elite pens that I'm using are really nice because they've got a thick broad tip and a fine one, which I think is really nice. But obviously you can do this, create your background papers in so many different ways. A really nice technique that we've done before is just sort of an experimental mark making where we've used unusual tools, a fork, a twig from the garden, a feather, and made marks with these unusual tools. You get some really nice qualities of line with those, so have a go at doing some of that as well. And you don't have to worry if you think, oh, it doesn't look quite good, I don't know if I like that. Because when you cut them up, they look quite different. They almost take on a bit of a quality of their own. So that's one example there. You can sort of see I've got some different colours and textures in the background, quite subtle, and then some more bold on the top. And then let's do another one at the top here. And obviously when you cut these designs up, you can't see like the whole picture, so you just really do want patterns rather than pictures. And if you don't want to do this stage of the activity at all, you can just use pages from magazines, old birthday and Christmas cards, packaging from kind of food. It's completely up to you. You just need different colours and patterns to kind of work with, and that's it. you can see, I'm really not spending a long time coming up with these designs. They're quick, they're simple. You know, don't spend ages kind of worrying about making these. Just kind of get started. Oh, that looks very similar colour. Let's try a bit of a different one. There you go. It's a good medium green. Okay, that'll do. So you can see they don't take long. They're super quick, simple, easy. You just really want to kind of get a whole selection to work with to start off with. Let's move these pens out of the way. Because you just want lots of variety of different papers, and you know, mixing up your papers is really nice as well. See, this is all on the same weight paper, but if you had some lighter weight, some heavier cards, some textured paper, that would be really nice too. So let's start thinking about what you can make with them. And I've made some designs up already, actually, to kind of inspire you. So here's a really simple robot that I made. Quite fun, quite childlike, very simple shapes. They're all pretty much squares or rectangles, bar the shoes and the mouth that have got a bit of a curve on them. So great for kids, these ones. This one is a bit more grown up, but again, using these same papers that we've just made, just some really simple kind of leaf patterns, which looks really nice. You can play about with words as well, which is great for if you're doing birthday cards. You could write people's names on as well. That's really nice. And then I've got another more grown-up design here, which is like a floral design. And I've incorporated some pen here, so I've written hello and just drawn some little marks on the leaves and the petals as well. And this was using our wax resist paper that we made before. So yeah, a few examples to get you started. So we now need to start thinking about what we're going to make. So if you want to, you can just cut up some shapes and start. But if you're not that confident, you can start by doing a couple of designs. So I think I might make a little design for this card. So I'm just going to really simply just mark the corners there. This is just going to help me as a guide, so I know roughly what size my pieces need to be. And why don't we do a lovely little kind of a very simple bird design. I like drawing birds. So a little beak, some little tail feathers, need like a little wing, maybe some patterns on the wing. And then maybe a few little hearts. So you can see my design is not complicated. I've kept it quite simple. Start simple for your first design, and then the more experience you get, the more practice, then you can start playing about more complex ones. So I'm going to move that up here so I can still see my design. Put my card here, and to start off with, I'm not going to use the glue stick. I'm going to keep that aside for now until I've kind of got all my bits cut out and all of my design in place, and then we'll stick it down. So now you need to decide what colour you're going to use for what part. So I'm going to start with the main body of my bird. And I think this one could be quite nice, this kind of yellow and orange one. So if you want to, you can draw the shape again and cut it out. So you can draw the shape on there. I'm not going to worry, I'm just going to cut mine straight out. I'm quite confident that I can kind of get the design looking pretty much like my design. And like I said, if you have it there the whole time, you can kind of see what you're trying to recreate. And if you're looking for a great activity for kids, but they're maybe a little bit too young to do the cutting part of it, you could get them to make all the papers the day before. Then when they go to bed, you could cut out shapes for them. Circles, rectangles, love hearts, stars, leaf shapes. And then they can then just do the collage part as well. So that's quite a nice idea if you think you've got young children that would like to do it, but you don't trust them with a pair of scissors. So there you go, you can see I've got my bird shape, which is here. So that's going to go on the middle. Then we need to get a wing shape. And I think I might use this one for the wing shape. So again, I'm going to look at that kind of design that I've got there. So it sort of curves up. And the reason we're not sticking it down straight away is because you can then play about with it. So obviously I've made this too big, but once I figure out kind of where I want it to go, I can turn it over and trim it down from the back. And obviously all these lovely little bits you can still use. So there you go, so that looks cute, but actually they're quite similar colours, so I think it might be nice to have a different line of colour just coming under it. So why don't we use one of these that we made earlier, and that blue looks quite cute. So I'm just gonna, sometimes I find it easier when I'm cutting out to have a smaller bit to start off with. Some of my paper, pick those back up. Yeah, sometimes I find it easier to cut from a smaller bit of paper rather than a really big bit. So what I'm going to do is just wiggle that around till I'm happy with it. There you go. That looks nice. Yeah, much better. Lovely. Got a bit of differentiation between the colours there. They're a bit too similar. So we now need to do, let's have a look at our design again. So we've got these little, what would you call them? Tail feathers and head feathers, maybe? So I might use these ones for this. So I've got sort of 3 or 4 on the tail. I might use all the same, actually. So again, like I said, sometimes I find it easier to cut from a smaller bit. And you can see how when it's on here, you might think, oh, it doesn't look that good. I don't think I really like it. But once you cut it out into just the paper, you've suddenly got this really cool textured paper. Yeah, that looks nice. So a couple of smaller ones. And, you know, try and be mindful of not wasting your paper as well. Obviously, it's great because it can all be recycled. But you don't want to be, you know, unnecessarily wasteful. So, you know, cut from the edges and any little offcuts and things like that. But these little bits, keep them because you can still use them and make things from it. So we've got 1, 2, and we need one more. And once you finish the activity, you know, keep all of these papers. Don't throw them away. Keep them because you can use them another day, a different activity. They're great for just sort of general crafting. So we've got our little tail feathers there. And then we need some little head feathers. Let's use this sort of similar blue colour but slightly different for the head feathers. We've got 3 of those as well. So again, I'm going to cut a little square off. And, you know, if you're stuck for ideas, sometimes I think with activities like this, the hardest bit and the people where most people get stuck is coming up with the design ideas. You know, you can make the marks, but then what are you going to actually make of your collage? So if you are struggling a little bit, head online, you know, look on Pinterest, on Google Images, search, you know, creative collage cards, see what comes up. It's a lovely technique, and there's going to be loads of examples out there from artists and people that have kind of made some designs which will inspire you. You know, look through books, look outside your window, get inspired by nature. Sometimes, you know, the simplest designs are the best. You know, flowers, birds, trees, things like that just can look really lovely. And, you know, you don't have to be a professional. You don't have to have done this before. I think what's really lovely about all crafting activities is that actually, you know, they're not meant to look perfect. You know, they're supposed to look homemade and crafted. So don't be too hard on yourself, just have fun with it. So I'm going to use this for the beak. I'm going to make it a little bit longer so I can... It's got a little beak in there, so that's really cool. It almost looks like sort of tie-dye there. And then we need a little eye, and the eye's got to be quite, or maybe some purple for the eye. And like I said, I am just freestyling my cutting out, but if you're not that confident with a pair of scissors, do just, you know, draw it out first and then cut it out. There's, you know, it's a perfectly sensible way of doing it. Okay, so we've got the eye there, and then we just need some legs. So I'm going to do the legs the same colour as the underside. Oops, let's just cut them a little bit out. Oops. So I'm going to do some very simple bird-esque feet. And, you know, don't make it too difficult for yourself. Start with a simple design. And then once you've kind of mastered that, then start getting more complex. You know, the more intricate your design is, the fiddlier the cutting out is going to be as well. So go kind on yourself. And then we need another little leg. Like I said, all these little bits that we're cutting off that we're not using, these are great. You know, we can still use these for another collage, so don't throw anything away at all. It's got one little leg. Just trim that one down a bit. Little leg there. And then there was just some hearts, wasn't there, on the top, so let's use our pink paper again. Okay, so once you've got all the bits cut out, I think that's everything now, just play about with it and the position and the composition of your design until you're 100% happy. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So now you need to start gluing it down, and obviously what you need to do is you need to glue the things that are underneath first. So here, it's the legs and the beak. They're going to go on first. So I'm going to just slide it out. I'm just going to use a Pritt stick. And the more fiddly bits, I'm going to just do against my finger. If you've got a scrap bit of paper, you can do it on there as well. But just be aware that this bit of paper will get really sticky and a bit gross. So lift it up. And then we're just going to poke it up underneath. Put that down. Okay, and then slide number 2 out. Add some glue. And collage is a wonderful sort of mindful activity. You know, you could sit and just craft all day and never come up with the same thing twice. I think that's really quite special. So, you know, it's great if you just want to have a nice chilled afternoon, and you know, all ages can do this. I can't stress that enough. You know, a 4-year-old child will get as much excitement out of this as a, you know, 80-year-old would. You know, everybody will have different designs as well. That's what's really lovely. So you can see I put the bottom bits on first, so that's great. I'm now going to take these decorations off the top, and I'm now going to stick our main body part on. So make sure to turn it over. Put the glue on. And then because your legs and your beak are already in place, that kind of helps you know where you've got to go. Make sure you push down right to all the edges. Make sure it's all down. So we're going to do our little tail feathers next. One. And 3 there. Layer that one over the top a little bit. That looks quite cute. If there's a bit here, you can see I don't think I've stuck this bit down very well. Just peel it back as much as you can. Just put a bit of extra glue on there. Try and not crease the paper. And then just fold that back down. So if you've got like these really tiny bits, I'm just going to do it against my finger. Like I said, you will get slightly sticky fingers, but we can go wash our hands. Stick that down. Oh, a bit too close. Move that one over. The nice thing about these pens as well is where they're so porous, they soak through the paper. So if you're doing it straight on a really nice table, do pop a bit of scrap paper underneath. But what's really nice is the pattern comes through on both sides as well. So you've got almost like a front side where it's a bit bolder and then a back where it's a bit more subtle, which I think is quite nice. So then we've got our little love heart. And then we need to get our wings on. So because this bit doesn't completely line up at the back, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bit along the edge of this blue first. And then I'm going to stick that to, oopsie daisy, stick that nearly there. There we go, to my yellow bit first. And then I'm going to glue both of them together. And then we're just going to match that up with our design and push that down. And we just got the little heart eye left. Bit of glue on there. Oops. There you go. So that's our finished collage. Now, of course, if you want to, you can go over the top and add some extra decorations. So if I just grab a pen. But you don't have to do this. It's just an added extra. If you think it needs something or you want to write someone's name on it, you can do. There you go. I can just see this bit here is lifted up a little bit, so I'm just going to do what we did at the front. Bend it back carefully, rest it against your finger, put a little bit more glue on it. And there you have it. Really simple, really easy, great for all ages, creative collage. So I hope you enjoyed the activity. I hope you have a go. And if you do, please make sure you tag us in your finished creations. We'd love to create a gallery of your artwork. Yeah, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay guys, take care. Bye.